Hey there guys, the PC guy here, and though Black Friday is come and gone, Christmas is right around the corner, and some people that have not bought a PC or PC parts back then might be considering buying them, so I thought it would be a good idea to do a few build videos at different price points. So first of all, apologies for any weird breathing sounds. I'm having quite a massive cold right now, so you might hear some of that. And I am going to be starting with the $1,000/euro price point. It's valid for both EU and America. I kind of managed to get the prices just about right. So that is the price point I'm going to start with. Seems like a decent price for a pretty decent mid-range PC that can carry you to high FPS 1080p or entry-level 1440p, as in not quite reaching high refresh rates, but pretty decent nonetheless, and very much playable. I'll start by going through the parts with you guys on PC Part Picker before switching to EU-based sites, just so you guys have an idea of the difference. And some of the pricing is actually surprising from the preconceptions I had coming into this video. Starting with the CPU, the 3600X seems to be the perfect point for a PC on this price range. It's faster than anything Intel has to offer, be it in gaming or otherwise, and while Intel's offerings come close to it or match it in gaming, the 3600X is superior in pretty much any other task you can throw at it, so it's a very good option in case you want to do something else next to the gaming, like either content creation or streaming or anything of the sort. It's for $339 right now on Amazon, so it's a pretty decent price for the processor you get. You always have the option to go for last generation's 2600X, for example, but considering our price point that we have for our build, this seems like a very decent choice. With a core count of 6 and twice as many threads, it is pretty decent both for now and for in the future when applications start using more cores and more threads and taking advantage of them properly. Unlike Intel's offerings at this price point, it has simultaneous multi-threading, which gives it twice the number of threads as it has cores, helping with the future-proofing that I just mentioned. Next up, for the motherboard, we have the GIGABYTE B450 AORUS M Micro. It's a micro ATX motherboard, so not really full-on ATX form factor, gives you some more freedom in the choice of a case, and it has, well, all the features that we need. It lacks PCIe Gen 4, which is not useful really at this price point. It's for $85 right now on Amazon, and while not being the latest and the greatest, the price does reflect that, so it is a bit cheaper, and it will allow you to splurge a bit more on other parts of the build. It still has some additions that are very much welcome, like for example it has some RGB headers if you are into that. It has some very minimalistic RGB that you obviously can turn off, and the color scheme kind of goes with pretty much anything. It also has an M.2 slot if you are to get the drive of that to actually boost up your storage speeds and your boot speeds a little bit more. However, we're not going to be including one of those in this build, but the possibility is there for the future. Next up we have the RAM. I went for a 16GB kit of 2x8 to take advantage of dual channel memory speeds. DDR4 3400 MHz. It's not the ideal 3600 CL16 that is advertised as being the best for Ryzen, but it comes close. This one in particular is also a CL16, as you can see right here, so it is close to the ideal, and the price reflects that. If you are to go for 3600, it will be slightly faster, however it will be a lot more expensive. Continuing after a coughing fit, it also has no RGB, which is a sacrifice that we are willing to make to get more performance with the budget that we have. Next up, for the GPU, I chose an RX 5700, specifically from MSI. I'm not very particular about the brand that I choose for my graphics card. I have had several MSI graphics cards in the past and I was pretty satisfied with them, so this is a good choice and also one of the cheaper options, being at $335 right now on Newegg with a $20 discount, so that's a little bit off the price as well. Keep in mind about the graphics card, I'll have a little word about it in the end of the video, because there are some interesting options right now with the XT version not being much far off, but I'll talk about that in a second at the end of the build. Graphic card like this can easily carry you to high FPS on 1080p, and like I said, entry-level 1440p should also not really be an issue, although I would not expect, for example, 144 Hz gameplay out of it. For storage, I went with WD Digital Blue 1 terabyte, 7.2K RPM, hard drive, $40. It's good enough for your Steam library. If you need more space, you can always add up in the future. And, well, it's always handy to have an HDD to have some more storage space and not just rely on the smaller SSDs. And because it's 2019 and we like nice and fast boot times and load times, an SSD. I went with the Kingston A400 240GB. It's good enough to put Windows on, some of your most played games and most used programs. And again, you can always expand to a bigger one in the future if you have the need to do it or if you just want some more space. It's for $27 on Amazon right now, which is really not bad at all for just a basic SSD to get your boot times going. For the power supply, I went with Cooler Master. It's one of the cheaper options that are also a bit certified in terms of 80 plus certification with 550 watt. For an extra $10 you can get a fully modular option of the same power supply, so that's not too bad considering how much handier that is and how much less clutter you'll have in your case, making it a lot easier to build and a lot more pleasing to the eye as well. So that's something to consider as well. The 550 watt will be enough for your system and even leaves you a little bit of headroom in case you want to upgrade in the future. Finally, as for the case, that's a very personal matter, but I have two cases to recommend, one of which is the one I'm using on the build as a reference for the price, which is the Meshify-C. It's at $100 right now. It has amazing airflow, it looks pretty good as well. So that is kind of the classics that a lot of people are recommending right now too. The other option worth considering that I have actually recommended a friend to build on it right now and is pretty happy with it is the Cooler Master H500. Both of them are ATX towers, so they'll easily fit your micro ATX motherboard. And the thing with the H500 is that it has two 200mm fans at the front. Bigger fans have to spin less to move the same amount of air, keeping your PC more than cool enough while going at lower RPM than the other fans would have to, which will result in a lot less sound in your system, just basically a lot more silent operation, and you won't even hear it's there almost. It is, keep in mind, $10 more expensive. It's up to you if you think it's worth the difference or not. Putting all these in the system builder brings our price to a total of $1,025. This is 25 over the budget of 1,000 I had. However, I put the modular power supply in there and the 650 because the 550 seemed to be out of stock and I could not have a price for it. However, the non-modular option would result in around the $15 decrease, as well as if you go down to 550. So you are definitely at the budget point, basically, maybe $5 over. This is using the Meshify-C as well here in place of the H500 that I talked about. Quickly hopping to Tweakers, an European site for price comparison and PC building. The price of the same parts as I just mentioned add up to a total of $976, so definitely within the budget. And this is what actually surprised me is that some prices were a lot lower than they were on the US when it usually is not the case. For example, the power supply is a lot cheaper even for the full modular version, and a few other parts were a bit on the cheaper side as well. So having achieved the price point for the PC that we want on both on US territory and on the EU, what is the little thing that I want to talk about the graphics card? Well, there's two considerations to be had here. The first one is that you can turn your 5700 into an XT for roughly $30. The MSI version of the card is not much more expensive than the standard 5700, especially now with a mail-in rebate. However, that is probably not a difference at all times, and the $30 difference that I mentioned will probably quickly turn into a 40 or 50 when this promotion ends. Going on to the EU version of things, the difference is also closer to the 40 or 50 euros, so yeah, it is a bit more of a jump, but it will definitely put you over budget. However, it is a much better card that rivals the 2070 Super, and it will give you high performance at 1440p as well, so it's a bit up to you if you want to spend the extra to get a better product as well. On the other hand, you can flash the 5700 with a special BIOS that will give it a bit of a 10% or so increase in performance, and this is not even touching overclocks, so it's up to you really if you want to spend more to get a better card or if you want to get a cheaper card and tweak it a little bit, and you also get a lot of extra performance out of it. It will put you over the budget that I aimed for in this video, but the option is there, and we are talking about a small over budget increase for a potentially very big difference in performance. That said, this PC should, like I said, carry you through high-end 1080p, entry-level 1040p. A couple of other side notes: you have the option to upgrade your CPU next generation for the next Zen 3 iteration, because it should be using the same socket, so the option is there. Another little side note on the socket: make sure that it supports the Ryzen 3000, because depending on how old that motherboard is, and I mean how long it has been sitting on the shelf before being sent to you, it might not be installed with the BIOS that will support Ryzen 3000. It might need flashing. If that is the case, AMD can, and they do have a program for that. They can send you a little CPU, a very basic, like 1 core or 2 core CPU, for you to just be able to flash the BIOS onto there and update it and put your own. Check their website for more information, and you are then expected to ship it back, so there is that option. Otherwise, just ask at a local PC store if they can maybe do it for you. As always, you are free to add or take away whatever parts you see fit and replace them with another. That's the beauty of PC building. You can pick your own parts if you have preferences, or you can recycle parts from an older PC that you have, like hard drives and the such, or a case. It's all up to you. With all that said, I'll be leaving links to the parts that I mentioned down in the description below. There'll be Amazon links, which has been the cheapest place to get them in most of the parts that I saw. So feel free to use those if you want to, well, help the channel grow a little bit. They are affiliate links after all, and we are part of the partner program as well, so that also helps us out. This has been Ethic PC Guy. Hope you guys enjoyed the PC that you might be building or not at the moment with the suggestions I gave you. I'll try to do other different price points over the coming few weeks to try to cover the people that are, building PCs around Christmas time as a Christmas present. So keep your eyes open for that. If you are looking for a different price point, be it lower or higher, I'll be trying to aim for both ends of the spectrum, as well as the middle point, which this video is supposed to be. Hope you guys enjoy your PC, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hit like, drop a comment, letting me know what you think of my choice of parts for this build. Really would like to see what you guys think of that, since I have not done a whole lot of this lately, and I'm also obviously still learning. So let me know what you guys think. If you enjoy the content, check the rest of the videos, see if there's something you'd like, and considering hitting the subscribe button to help us also grow further in the future and give you more and better content. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have fun, and I'll see you later.